Welcome to the Blogger Genius Podcast, brought to you by Milo Tree. Here's your host, Jillian Leslie.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Blogger Genius Podcast. I'm your host, Jillian Leslie, and I'm so happy you are here. Today, I have my very good friend, Laura Fuentes, back on the show. This will be the 5th episode I have released with her. And in this episode, you'll get to see some behind the scenes of how we really are friends in real life and how we help each other with our business building. Now, before I launch in, because I am talking about business building, please go grab my cheat sheet of the 5 secrets successful entrepreneurs already know. I interview lots of successful entrepreneurs, and they all have these 5 things in common. So head to milotree.com/secrets and see which of these you might need to add to grow your income. Again, head to milotree.com/secrets to grab your free copy. This episode came out of a conversation Laura and I had less than a week ago, and I was talking about the importance of online entrepreneurs selling directly to their audiences and how we're trying to solve that by building Milo Tree Easy Payments. And Laura said, no, you're missing an even more important piece. And I said, what are we missing? And she said, helping entrepreneurs deal with the negative self-talk where we psych ourselves out, where we don't really value ourselves and all that we contribute and all that we know, and that is a really neglected piece. And it's something I think we all struggle with. So in this episode, Laura and I talk very honestly about our own struggles with self-sabotage, negative thinking, and how we try to move beyond it, or at least not let it paralyze us. I think you'll like this. So without further delay, here is my interview with Laura Fuentes. Laura, welcome back to the show.
Yay, I'm so excited to be here. Part 2.
So I have to explain this. We recorded an entire episode where you interviewed me about Milo Tree Easy Payments and how it works. And we, David and I, are in the background, like making changes and thinking about our strategy and how best to serve online entrepreneurs. And I realized that the podcast just didn't align with how we're thinking about our product now. So you and I are friends, and we got on a call, and we like to give each other like business, like coaching, because you get to see my business from the outside and I get to see your business from the outside. And by the way, I recommend having a friend like that because it's invaluable. And we're talking about Milo Tree Easy Payments. And I was saying, we're creating this way for creators to monetize directly from their audiences, and we're making it super easy. And I'm talking about that. And you said something that I thought was brilliant. You said, wait a second, one thing you're not addressing, and I wrote it down, is helping your audience overcome their negative self-talk. So before they even can think about putting together, say, a 1-hour paid workshop, there's another barrier. It's not just like, well, you just set this up and in 10 minutes. It's that maybe I don't really have something of value to teach because maybe I'm not valuable.
Or maybe they have the idea, but they are unsure that their audience will pay or it's worth the price. Or, and it's not about the product, it's about the value, their perceived value on their knowledge, because sometimes we assume that, but I already know how to do this because it comes easy to us, that someone else may or may not pay for that, even though we could package it in a pretty ebook or product or a session. I had said to Jillian, Jillian, you're making the assumption that your online entrepreneurs are ready to sell their product. And yes, your product makes it so much easier to get started literally in 10 minutes, because you gave me, before we recorded our first podcast, you walked me through it and we had a product ready to go in 10 minutes. And I was like, wow, this is so beneficial. But and then when I asked you, why didn't you publish it? You're like, I'm like, well, but you're making the assumption that they know that they can do something, or they know that they're ready But today, like you said, we want to talk about the entrepreneur who has the idea or is sort of iffy about the idea, but is unsure if it will do well.
And I'm going to go one step further and say, that it's not even, is my knowledge valuable? Am I valuable? And
Yeah.
the thing that I always think is so interesting about us as humans, and, people will give me this feedback and be like, Jillian, you're so wise. And I'm like, yeah, it's so easy though to see it in your life. It's so much harder to see it in my own life. And that's why, again, Laura, it's so good that we're friends and that we can be totally honest with each other and give each other this feedback, because we don't see our own special sauce. But
Correct.
even before we pressed record right now, we were talking about your business, and I'm like, here, write this down. This is your special sauce that I see. But because you're on the inside, you're like, yeah, but doesn't everybody know this? And that's what I do as well. And it's kind of like going to the people you love and saying, what is my special sauce? Like, what do I do? So, okay, for my podcast,
it can be as simpler than that. It's just to say, hey, could you tell me 3 things that when you look at my business or when you look at my blog or when you look at what I do online, can you tell me 3 things that I do well that you look at and we're like, wow, she does this really well? And it's not that you're fishing for compliments. You need to overcome that. Okay. It's about getting feedback that not only does it build your self-esteem about your capabilities, right? But it's, what do people perceive of me, of what I put out there, right? And you're not asking like, what can I improve, right? You're not asking for feedback on the negative things or what are your holes or your things to fix. You're asking for feedback that creates a positive feedback loop, but it's also so you can do more of that, right? Like, oh, well, you do this really well, you do X, Y, and Z. And that is just as beneficial as asking for what can I fix in my blog or what can I fix in my business, right?
Yes. I think that because I do think we discount the things we do effortlessly. And we think, because I know it, everybody knows this.
But the thing is, the things that we do effortlessly, they weren't effortless at the beginning.
Right. But we forget.
Correct. Because our journey is further on the road. And usually as an entrepreneur, we try to package up the things that we do effortlessly because it's been a journey for us. And we sort of want to teach someone else how to maybe not take us long in the journey, maybe to take it easier, right? Like how to build a blog, and here's the 10 mistakes I made. And so I'm going to teach you how to do it so you can grow it faster or without the mistakes, right? Like we're sort of teaching people from experience.
Exactly. I love that, which is if you can put the hat on of helper, where you knew how hard this was. And if you can make somebody else's path a little bit easier, I would argue that you need to try doing that, because what else are we here for?
I mean, isn't that how we connect with our audience? By sharing not only our journey, right, but the things that how we can help them, right? Whether it's through content or blog. But we sometimes as women, and I'm speaking as a woman, but my husband has a problem with this too, but generally speaking, women, we have a big problem like sounding salesy, right? But you're not. And so that's like another thing that adds to our, I'm being very salesy, or are they going to think I'm just trying to sell them on this?
Right.
But isn't that what going to the grocery store is? Like they're trying to sell us food, right? Like the end caps of an aisle, a brand paid to put their product on the end cap. So they're trying to sell you that brand versus whatever else is in the middle of the aisle.
Well, I say
it's no different.
Totally. Well, but I would say this: one, do you believe in what you're selling? Do you believe you can help somebody? If you can help one person, isn't that worth it? And two, people have this disconnect. Like I put my heart and soul, let's say, into this course because I want to help people. But then I don't want to quote unquote be seen as salesy, even though I know this course can help you. I say to people, I was just coaching somebody who is launching her first paid workshop. And I said to her, please be salesy. Be overly salesy because I know you and I know your version of overly salesy is probably at the right level of getting sales. Like you couldn't be annoying. You couldn't be overly pushy. In fact, your nature is to be like, well, I'm putting this out there, but don't think
And
you have
by
to
the
buy
way,
it. I'm going to put it at the bottom of a blog post as like a, by the way, I don't mean to put pressure on you, but hey, you should check this out, but you don't have to. So I said to her, get to the point where you feel uncomfortable, where you feel like, oh my God, all I'm doing is selling and this is really awful and my audience is going to turn on me. Like get there because your version of that is so far from you being salesy.
Right. Plus, I mean, people consume so much information, so much content online that you literally do have to get to that point where you sound salesy to yourself for people to just sort of hear like, oh, all right. You know, like, oh, she's talking about that, to like register.
Yeah, to rise above the noise.
Yes, yes. And that's something that, again, goes with this self-esteem, self-worth situation, right? Like I sometimes, this is an example I give to the moms in my community. Sometimes I look at 20 somethings today, college students today, and I'm like, wow, they really walk around with like a different type of confidence than when I was 20 something, right? And then I feel like in my late 20s, I sort of found my confidence, but I also became a mom. And then through motherhood, which is, we were talking about this before, it's almost like because there's no workbook and I could read all the books and all this stuff, but no one tells me that I was doing a good job as a mom.
No.
Right? In life, unless you hire a coach, you don't have that feedback loop, right? That's why coaching is so beneficial for people who are sort of stuck, right? Sometimes you need that person on the outside. But I look at the moms in my community and I'm like, guys, like you're buying food, you're making meals, like you're doing a good job, right? And I wish I could like get a microphone and say it louder for the people in the back over there, right? Like, you know what? Why do we praise our children all the time? We tell them when they're doing a good job. We want to encourage them because we want them to like get there, right? To recognize their capabilities. But it's almost like once we get older and we're on our own, nobody tells us those things, right?
No.
So that's why I think, going back to your question, it's really important to ask the people that you trust to say, hey, can you tell me a couple of things when you look at what I'm doing online that you feel like I'm doing well?
Yes. And in fact, I'm going to put myself, I want to say I'm available. Email me at jillian@milotree.com. I'll get on a call with you. And probably pretty quickly, I can find your special sauce. And I can tell you
really
the things.
can.
I can tell you the things that you don't see about your own business. And don't think that, again, I'm no like magical person. I can't necessarily see it in my own business because I'm inside me. So I know the things, because if it comes effortlessly to me, then I'm not necessarily going, wow, that is so valuable. It's usually looking out into the world and seeing things that other people are doing that I can't do, or I'm not as successful. And then I feel inadequate and I feel bad about myself. And I don't necessarily stop and go, oh my God, it's a little bit like social media followers, right? Okay, Momables, how many followers do you have on Instagram? Do you know?
I like 56,000.
Okay, that's super impressive, right? But tell me you have not looked at an account, like a food account that has over 100,000 followers and gone, oh my God, we're so slacking. You know?
No, I take it a step further. My daughter, who has like 600, she has a private account. She's a teenager, has like 600 friends on Instagram. She posts a picture and gets like 90% engagement rate, right? All the comments, all the likes, all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm second guessing, is this not a good post? Is this not a good recipe? Like, why aren't people liking it? Why aren't they commenting? I'm like, they're freaking saving it for later. Why? Like, what is happening, right? Have I not been doing a good job of building a relationship? Like, and then I have to talk myself down from the ledge and go, you know what? I cannot analyze my business or what I'm doing compared to what other people are doing. And honestly, Instagram is not my strength. And I don't really care. And I'm
Mhm.
only really on there because brands care. There, I
Mhm.
said it. Because
Mhm.
to me, Instagram is like window shopping. Now,
Absolutely.
I have an email list, and you and I have met, and you guys should check out if email is your thing and you are tired of window shopping. You should check out Jillian's podcast on email list building that we've done together. We also
Yes,
did
I
one
will.
on YouTube that was really good.
Yes, and I will link
Um,
to that.
and now those people, those are my people. They open my emails, they buy products from me, they give me feedback, they tell me what I need to improve, they tell me when I was helpful, right? Like that is the people that without asking will tell me when I'm doing great, what I'm doing well, and they'll also tell me how I can improve, right? Because it's a different relationship. So I've become very in the last 10 years, I've come very accustomed to that, to building those types of relationships where I elevate my audience and how they feel about their efforts in the kitchen through my emails, that I've noticed that I'm not able to do on Instagram because it's not my strength, right? It may be somebody else's strength and that's the type of community that they've built, but that's not what I have built there, right? And so I'm going to do obviously more of what builds my business, what builds my mood about my work, right? What I get that positive feedback. And that's what today we need to get back on topic. We want to talk about how you, the listener, can overcome those things of self-doubt, right? Like just like looking at your Instagram metrics and going like, but are they going to buy from me? Are they like,
Yes.
should I even
Yes.
do this product? Like we know
Yes.
that Milo Tree Easy Pay will get you in 10 minutes started,
Yes.
right? We know
Yes.
this. So you have the tools. You've already looked at all the things that you need to get started. You may even have an idea or a product. Maybe that thing is already ready and you just haven't launched it.
Mhm. So I would say, think about the thing that you do effortlessly that you discount about yourself.
Right.
Like for example, maybe you're really good at getting your family out the door in the morning to school and you have systems set up that are amazing, but you don't even know that because guess what? You get your kids out the door in the morning without fighting. Is that something that but you go, well, yeah, but everybody knows this. Everybody knows to put your clothes out the night before and get the lunches, whatever it is. But is that
Mm-hmm.
something though, where you could help somebody with something as simple as that? Because for
Yep.
you, it's like, duh, all you have to do is go to YouTube, watch YouTube. You'll see people who have systems in place. How can I be different? Well, the truth is you are different because you're you and you've got your
Yes,
spin. And so
there's
thinking,
something about every person, Jill. Like maybe they have a house that's full of green plants, right? Like we use food because I'm in the world of food and there's a lot of food bloggers in your audience, but maybe there's somebody that gardens, okay? And they have a house full of green plants. Well, I haven't had many plants in a decade because I literally killed them. And my thing this Christmas was all I wanted for Christmas this holiday was plants, right? I had my mother-in-law gifted me plants, my mom, like everyone, right? And so now my thing is I'm going to keep these guys alive. I'm going to learn what they need, not what the little tag in the plant says, because we all have bought plants, followed the tag, and they've died. But I would pay someone to spend 30 minutes a couple of times, once a month or so, to check in and go, let's Zoom or let's FaceTime and see how
show
your
me your
plants
plan.
are doing. Show me your plants, right? Like you're doing, what are you struggling with? I'm like, this one's got yellow leaves. I don't know, but the one next to it doesn't, right? Like maybe plants are your magic sauce, right? But you're like, but I just water them. I do this. I'm like, yes, but don't discount that,
Right. And then
right?
I
Like
think
that is something that I would pay for, something people would pay for.
completely. So here's the thing, you go, well, but you could go to YouTube and you could see this. But one thing that we're rolling out with Milo Tree Easy Payments is an easy way for people to book one-on-one coaching calls with you. So for
Mm-hmm.
example, it's a big difference between, like, let's say you've got your plant. And by the way, I'm attached to my plants too, and I'm not that good with them. But now I've got my friend here, right? My girl's going to hook me up that I'm willing to pay $30, let's say, to get on a call with her and show her my plants. and that I know she's got my back and that she's going to help me. And that it's not like I have to go through a bunch of blog posts or videos to find the solution to my yellow leaves. But she looks at my plants and goes, oh, here's what here's whatever you need to do to fix your plant situation. So don't discount that somebody wouldn't want to get on a Zoom call with you and you get to
You're
be
not
the expert.
This is like you like gave me a light bulb moment before we hit record with that. And I was like, wait a minute, like I don't have to have like this whole written plan and takeaways. Like we're so used to the tangibles that we forget that. I mean, when I go to therapy, I pay a lot for the hour and I don't get anything tangible.
Right. She's not giving you a PDF.
No
worksheet,
like, I was
no
like,
checklist.
Oh my gosh. All those years, I was like, wait, there's no checklist, there's no PDFs. And then I'm on my own, right? That's even scarier. So like, or even maybe you are the friend that literally you have a style blog, like a closet blog, a style, and you're really relying on affiliate income and all this stuff. And you're like, but I really want to expand. And I'm like, if you are the friend that tells someone, hey, don't buy those jeans, they really are not your style, like people would pay for that, right? But I get told that all the time, like, wow, I want to go shopping with you. I'm like, yeah, don't buy those. Not because you're fat or any,
right,
I'm not
right.
discounting your appearance. It's just
Right.
that style is not, I do this to my teenage daughter. I'm like, that style is not for you. You're going to wear a couple of times and that's going to end up in the Goodwill pile, right? Or maybe help people go through their closet. The thing is that you are waiting. I think we can put a price on the tangible, but putting a price on the non-tangibles or our basically how we can perform, and I said this in air quotes, or in a conversation like this, we're like, but what's the price of that, right? Like, and that's where I was hung up for last week since our text messaging. I was hung up in the, what is the tangible? What am I going to give my audience in exchange? And I forgot that the exchange is a relationship that they get to build with me, and that positive feedback loop to tell them, you know what? You're doing a really great job.
Yes.
You made 3 meals last week. Like,
yes.
I don't care that you didn't follow the plan. So what? Oh, you bought chicken, you never cooked it. Don't forget to freeze it. Like,
yes.
And
we all need that. It's like we all need somebody in our corner. And if you can be that person to somebody else, they will pay you for it. They will love you for it. And again, I go back to, what else are we here for except to make ourselves find the easiest path for ourselves and find the easiest path for others. So let's say you come up with this idea and you're like, okay, I'm going to be the jean person who tells you if these jeans look good. And you go, I'm going to put together, let's say, coaching where I'm going to get on calls with people and I'm going to sell it as jeans. I'm going to like help you find the right jeans. Well, nobody buys it. It's all right. Well, maybe though, there's another way to think about this, which is, okay, I'm going to do a one-on-one call where you're going to show me your closet and I'm going to go through your stuff and we're going to kind of Marie Kondo it and go, do you love this? Go put this on. Let me look at it. See how do you feel in this? Like, put on your favorite outfit. Let's talk about what you like about this. Who knows? Like, who knows where the right, you got to kind of find that idea of product market fit. I'm offering something that people want, but it doesn't mean necessarily the first thing you put out there is going to be like, it's going to click, but you're going to do that and you're going to see, okay, this didn't click, but what if I switched it a little bit? What if I was the plant lady, but instead of indoor plants, we talked about outdoor plants. And so
I'll definitely pay for that.
This is where you start getting into conversation with people to say, what do you want from me? So I would say this, if we step back, first thing is, what is your special sauce that chances are you're overlooking? 2, how do you tell yourself you're worth this? And I think too, as mothers, because we give and give and give, right? Like, no, my daughter is not applauding me. I always say this, like when she was little and like, I brought the best snacks for her because I got the I don't know, like the more organic cheddar
Mhm.
bunnies, right? Like she wasn't applauding me. The other mothers at the park are not applauding me. So we're so used to giving. And it's hard for us then to go, wait a second, I should get paid for this. Not from my daughter, although I wouldn't, but just that idea of like, wait, what I have is really valuable. I should be paid for this. So again, identify what you're good at,
Mhm.
identify how you could potentially package it, how you could make somebody's life better,
Mhm.
recognize you are worth this, recognize then you're going to build an easy product, coaching, a workshop, something that's again, where you don't have to have the PDF, but
Mhm.
that you're going to connect with somebody and make their path a little bit easier. Put it out there, see if it's the jeans, see if it's the closet redo, the wardrobe, whatever it is, and get flexible and get building.
Yeah, I think we're just so afraid of everybody. You see this online all the time. Just get started, or like Nike's logo, just do it. And that's easier said than done when you have all these voices and it's really noisy in your head to actually do it or to actually get started. So recognizing when those things are happening is really important, okay? Because you it's not about getting up in the morning and having that perfect morning routine and the affirmations. It's about recognizing when you're in a funk and you need to just take a step back and go, "Hey, I'm really great at something. Okay, today I can do this for somebody else." Like it's it's sometimes it's hard to get started because we are so afraid of the outcome, or we can't actually see the outcome, right? I told you this last week, but Jillian, I really need to see the vision so I can work it backwards and create a way to sell it. And you're like, just figure it out as you go. And I was like, oh my gosh, like isn't that how I started 10 years ago before all the information on the web? I figured it out as I went,
I love that. Now,
right?
how do you deal with the negative self-talk?
So I have these things from time to time. The negative self-talk is a lot more. It's usually performance driven. So I literally actively remind myself the very thing I told you at the beginning is to go out your people out there what it is that you do well. And I can recognize now when those conversations are happening. And yes, it's difficult to mute them out, but it takes for me to actively remind myself, wait, even maybe you have to write on a post-it, hey, I'm great at these things. This
Mm,
job involved the following things and I did them well. How
mm,
it performs, sometimes it's outside of our control. Like we are not measured based on a performance of something. It's like all these companies that had product launches and then the pandemic happened. Like there's things outside of our control that truly, no matter the effort, no matter the value, they skew performance, right? And so that's when I go back and go, okay, wait, what can I improve? But I did all these things right. Maybe what the timing wasn't right. Oh, maybe I need to tweak this. And that's where asking for help or now I'm so much more open to asking my husband for help, my kids for help at, getting other people involved so that the pressure is not all on me, right? Like we put so
mm,
much pressure on ourselves and
mm.
a lot of eliminating the self-talk comes with eliminating the pressure to do well, the pressure to perform, the anticipation of something, right? And just like detaching ourselves from that emotion, from the performance or from the expectation. That's
And the
literally what I
outcome.
do many
And the
days and the outcome.
I love that. And I will say,
Yeah.
so I just want to say, if you are thinking about this, if this is kind of sparking something for you, reach out to me for free. I will get on a call with you. I want to help everybody find ways to get connected to their audiences, to sell direct. Ready? There's the word, sell directly to your audience because you can make
Mhm.
their lives better. So, Laura,
Yeah.
if somebody wants to get in touch with you to kind of hear what you're doing, I know you are launching new stuff.
Yeah.
How can they do it? What's the best way?
So you can email me, Laura@mamables.com.
I love that.
I think this is the first time I've ever given out my email on a podcast, even though it's accessible. But I want to eliminate that barrier that people think that, oh, but she's this and she's that, or she's doing this. It's like, no, but if we could give out my phone number, I would. Just message me on Instagram, either at Mamables or my personal Laura Fuentes. This is what Jillian and I do. We have each other and we rely on people to uplift our efforts. And I honestly think the first step for everyone here is to find that person that will help them see the good. And after that, it makes it easier to get started. So reach out to me at Mamables or Laura Fuentes, and I'm also here for you.
Well, Laura, thank you. I know this will not be your last. You will be back again to do this. So thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Thank you for having me, Jillian.
If you deal with a lot of self-doubt or negative thoughts, I hope this episode gave you a little bit of grace, made you feel a little less alone, because I think we all struggle with this. And please share this episode with a friend who could become your business buddy, just like Laura and I are business buddies. And that way you have somebody to bounce ideas off of who could be that honest sounding board. And to be your business buddy for just a moment, I want to say I bet you have something deep inside to teach. The easiest way to package your knowledge as a product is to set up a paid workshop. Head to milotree.com/challenge and I will send you 5 days worth of emails with tiny tasks, and you can set this up lickety split. And remember, it's all free. We don't make money until you start making money. But this way, you get a free sales page. Put it out in front of your people. See what they think. Ask them what they want from you. And start creating a way to monetize directly from your audience. If you have any questions, reach out to me at Jillian@milotree.com. I love hearing from you. I hope you know how invested in your success I am. Just go do it. And I will see you here again next week.